Hi everyone. In this video, let's look at WPA3 Enterprise configuration with UniFi access point. So now, just to before go for the configuration, so what we are looking at is a one mode of configuration, what we call WPA3 Enterprise Only. So in this particular mode, we are advertising a AKM value 5 across all the band. So no legacy AKM will be allowed, which is AKM value 1. But if you want 11R support, then you can advertise AKM value 3 on the same SSID. If it is access point is Wi-Fi 7, if you require higher encryption capability, you can advertise GCMP256 as well. So now Wi-Fi Alliance point of view, they prefer Wi-Fi 7 connections use GCMP256. But when the implementation point of view, they are not strictly adhere to that. Most of the WPA3, even personal or enterprise, most of the vendors allowing AES 128. Okay. So now ideally the concept is if your client is WPA3 compatible, no issue should be there to connect to this kind of SSID. So if your client is legacy WPA2 client with no PMF support, that's the key word here, PMF support. If your client is not supporting PMF, that WPA2 client may not be able to connect to this SSID. So let me just go to the configuration of the UniFi and show this setup. Now here is my UniFi environment. So now I am running with 10.1.68 network application version, early access, but like for a very long time, WPA3 was there with UniFi. That way I don't expect anything specific to this release. But now if I show you my setup, now I have some access point configured. Now I have a one SSID configured with WPA2 or WPA Enterprise Security, which is this SSID MRNU. If you look at the configuration, so now at the moment it is broadcasting 5 GHz and 6 GHz. I will enable it in 2.4 as well, just to make sure, like I'm advertising now this SSID across all the 3 bands. So sometime client point of view, I'm interested what is my Intel client doing, what is my Pixel client doing. If they're doing a MLO connection, are they selecting which band? In that particular scenario, I enable across all the band. Now this is the setting where you enable MLO. Now they give a warning message, like sometime MLO can boost performance, device still operate in single band, so any benefit may be limited. To avoid potential interoperability issues, we recommend not to enable at this time. So now be aware, like Wi-Fi 7 is a newer feature, specifically this MLO kind of configuration. Sometime in the production environment, if you enable, some client may have a roaming compatibility issues. In that way, they giving a warning message. But in my view, I would say yes, still devices are not matured Wi-Fi 7 point of view, but at least you need to test it out yourself and see. Okay, that way be mindful. Some vendors giving this kind of warning messages when you specifically enabling MLO. If you have a same SSID used for different purposes, probably be careful. But if your SSID is 4.1x for corporate devices like a laptop, tablet, smartphone, they should support these features if it is Wi-Fi 7 client. So now the setting is basic, I have that in the security point of view. Now they have certain features I have enabled, fast roaming as well. Probably we will look at this enabling, disabling. But now radius server security point of view, you can see here I have selected WPA3 Enterprise, not like a transition mode, anything like that. They purely giving only one option, no separate 192-bit mode and those kind of other option, but at least WPA3 Enterprise is shown here. You can select that. That's what I have been selected. I have selected external radius server. My ICE server has been added to the as a radius server here. In that way, SSID configured with that, and PMF which is required. If you're configuring a WPA3, it is mandatory. You don't get even enable this option here. That's good, in that way accidentally you cannot enable these settings. It has to be mandatory. So now other than that, whenever if you want to enable 192-bit mode, which is a different a WPA3 Enterprise 192-bit mode, they have that setting separately. So in this particular one, we are only focusing about typical WPA3 Enterprise, not highly secure 192-bit security mode. In that way, I just basically go with that and hit apply. Now, if I want to, show those particular configuration which we did. Now let's, now I will use the lswifi, where very useful CLI based scanner. I will again link that particular video into description here. If you're not familiar with lswifi, go through that, but this will basically give you a very powerful way of troubleshooting or analyze Wi-Fi in the Windows environment. Okay, I have Intel BE200 in this laptop. Now if it will listed all the SSIDs being broadcast here. Now if you check carefully, there should be SSID called MRNU here. Okay, so now if you cannot really find out in this big list, what you can do is you can just put the keyword include MRN-U. That's my SSID name. I would like to see whether that SSID being broadcast. Now you can see MRN-U being broadcast across 3 different bands. Channel number 1, channel number 138, 132, and channel number 69 in 6 GHz. So now if you look at the AKM, you can see now, because I have enabled fast transition 11R, AKM 3 being advertised. Okay, now this is AKM 5.1x with SHA-256. Now how can you tell this particular AKM 3 or 5? Now let me just export this as a PCAP file. I simply type export and I'll show you in a Wireshark what these particular numbers mean. So now that is being exported into your lswifi install folder. Now in here, if I go there, so you can see 126.121.650, that's a PCAP file. If you open this PCAP file, you will see these are the 3 beacon frame. Okay, the channel number 1, channel number 69, channel number 132. Any of this particular beacon frame, if you look at, you will see a field called RSN information. In this RSN information, now you can see they're only advertising the Cipher point of view, only AES 128. They don't advertise any GCMP 256. That's the one thing, I noticed. Sometime if you look at Cisco, they will always advertise GCMP 256 in a Meraki setup. But common encryption cipher is 128-bit encryption. Now in here, if you look at AKM value, you can see here they are advertising a 2 AKM value, 1 AKM being number 3, which is FT over .1x. The other AKM is number 5.1x with SHA-256. That's what I was showing you here, in this particular setting here as well. That's why I said this is number 3, this is number 5. Now the unicast group cipher or unicast cipher group cipher, all CCMP 128, we're not advertising anything else. Now what we need to do is, I want to connect my client to that SSID. Okay, so that way I will go ahead and disconnect from this, and I am connecting to MRN-U SSID. Now you can see it is connected MRN-U. Now if I go netSSH WLAN show interface, now you can see even Windows client is establishing Wi-Fi 7 MLO connection across these 2 links. Channel number 69, channel number 132. Okay, so I use AKM number 3, cipher being 128-bit cipher, WPA3 Enterprise with CCMP. Now data rate being set 1200.8. Now again, if you want to, now in here it is very clear, it's a MLO connection. You can see. Now if I go and check in the mcsindex.net table as well, if you search 1200.8, let's say now, that's the data rate value I saw in the sort of client. Now 1200.8. Okay, it's basically changing to 1441. So now let's check 1441, whether we have any reference here. 1441. You can see here 1441, couple of references there. Now choices going to be, if you have a one spatial stream, you can achieve that data rate using MCS index value 13. But now in here, I know my SSID is set up for 80 megahertz. That means I am achieving this one. Okay. That means if you go back to here, that means your client need to be MCS index 2 4096 COM, highest modulation possible with MCS index 13. So now this is a clear indication. My client is basically connecting to UniFi access point, giving the MLO connection with this setup here. Now, if I want to check, on the client side, let me just check here. If I go to client devices, let's filter for Wi-Fi devices. Now, this is my client, Dell Latitude, MRNU AP3. If I click that one, you can see right now it shows my connection is across 6 gigahertz 2x2, and it also saying this is ready or standby kind of setup. That means I am connected. You can see it is a MLO kind of setup. So it's like establishing across two links. This is my host name given to 78, and then transmit rate, receive rate. It's showing 5 gigahertz. That may be the active link at the moment. Okay. And now what other detail you can get? You will get some performance detail. You can check, connected around this one, because it's showing those connection detail. And another thing you can do is basically give a alias name. You can add some host name detail if you are interested. But this is the most key information there. It's able to establish MLO connection. Now what I will do is I will connect my Pixel 8 phone to the same SSID, and I will see whether we can see that also establishing MLO connection. Now Intel BE adapter, you can see it is connecting to MLO setup without any problem. So now I'm trying to connect using my Pixel phone. It got connected. The MAC address appear to be E4B3. So now let's see whether you can see a client with E4B3. E4B3, you can see Pixel 8. If I click that particular client, now you can see it does not really show me like a MLO kind of connection. It says Wi-Fi 7, but no MLO kind of setup. Okay. That means, in the WPA3 enterprise point of view, it appeared to be Pixel 8 phone is not able to do the MLO connection with this WPA3 enterprise setup. So now I have a Pixel 2 phone as well. So let me just try to connect that as well, and then show you how the settings going to be look like, at least the connectivity point of view. I'm connecting to MRNU. So now it's got connected as well. So now the MAC address of Pixel 2 phone is 4BB7. So now if I refresh here, you can see 4BB7. So now if I want to click that client, probably let me just give some alias is my Pixel 2. That way, if this client comes back, you will see that's now in here as well. So Wi-Fi 5 client, able to connect, no MLO, nothing, because this is Wi-Fi 5, but at least you saw we are able to connect those clients. Okay, in that way you can see now I was able to connect all these 3 clients to WPA3 SSID. My important part is Windows client Intel BE200. He's able to get MLO connection. You can see it is still connection is there. So now my Windows version is I am running Windows 11 2025 H2 kind of OS build, which is supporting WPA3 Enterprise with MLO kind of connection. Okay, sometime Windows, now if you want to look at like a wireless capability, net SH, instead of show interfaces, you can type show wireless capabilities. You can see Wi-Fi 7 Enterprise is supported. So sometime there's a no technical term called Wi-Fi 7 Enterprise, where this is saying Wi-Fi 7 connection on WPA3 Enterprise. Okay, that means like a MLO kind of connection. So now all this particular detail will be seen. So in general, that means Windows 11 latest sort of operating system is supporting Wi-Fi 7 Enterprise, that is MLO connection on your enterprise security as well. Now the key takeaways, now if I basically go back to my summary slide, or at least a slide to recap this. So now we saw AKM 5 and 3 being advertised. If you enable 11R support, now even if you don't have 11R support, then AKM 5 will be advertised. Client should be able to connect to that SSID. Now I can quickly show that, because like I said, I will going to do it. Let's quickly do it in that way. Configuration point of view, if you go to your SSID under Wi-Fi MRNU, you go ahead and disable fast roaming. But there are 2 concepts here. Like if it is a particularly 11R, probably you need to enable this checkbox. So now Ubiquiti also have something called BSS Transition, but this is maybe 11K and V kind of thing. Now how do we verify that? Probably let me just show you how can you verify that as well. Now if you use the lswifi with MRNU, you should be able to see which protocol or amendment being enabled. You can see now KVR all enabled. So now what I'm going to do is I will just disable 11R first. Okay. Now in here I will just go ahead and say fast roaming disable. Now if I go ahead and check on my client, now this 11R has to be gone, and this FT-AKM value should be disappear. Okay, let's do that, whether it's happening like that. Now these are cloud-based thing, give a little bit of time to take effect. Sometime when you apply on your GUI, it may not immediately push to the access point. Now you can see here that's gone. Only one SSID is saying this should be also gone. Now here there are no R here. Okay, so now make sure across all the band. Now you can see here we only advertising AKM value of 5. No 11R support here. Now I'm not sure if the client has been disconnected. let's basically disconnect and reconnect just to make sure. You can see still client establishing MLO connection across these two bands. Okay. Now AKM value 5. Previously we saw AKM value 3 being used. Now you can see data rate also went to MCS index 13 value. That means WPA3 Enterprise, MLO connection, Windows operating system, not a problem. Okay. So now one more thing before I make sure, like now sometime this is the power of that lswifi. You can quickly modify some setting here and understand what's happening. Now let's basically turn off BSS transition as well and see what's going to be missing in that particular setup. Like now, right now, I have not applied that change there yet. So you can see we are basically, okay, that is, like ideally I didn't really apply anything like that. Probably should not be rolled back to this kind of setting. Now let's see, because now, okay, this is again saying that KVR has been enabled, but I didn't really apply any setting there. That's something, like need to be checked. I just enable that. Fast roaming also disable. Let's apply, even get rid of this BSS transition feature. I would say K and V should be disappeared now. Let's give some bit of a time. And what is the sort of information being, okay, I'm looking at the wrong SSID. Okay, in that way, that's sorry about that. Okay, I was looking at my MRK-X. Actually, it should be a MR and like a MRN-U SSID. This is the SSID I need to look for. So now in here, sorry, I was get confused. Now you can see here still K and V will be there. Okay, but this one, now if you go back previously, MRNU, so K and V is there. That's what whenever we disable fast roaming, I would like to see the BSS transition disable mean what exactly they are disabling. Still the K and V will be there. Okay, so I suspect that particular setting it's something to Ubiquiti specific, nothing to specifying. We can see still K and V will be broadcasting. You can see it is not going to go away. That means this setting in here, this setting. So now if you look at it, say improve the client transition between AP when they have a weak signal. Client that do not support this feature may experience connectivity issues. That means this BSS transition mean at least it should be 11KOV, 11V. But now let's go ahead and enable 11R. I would like to leave whenever 11R enable on this SSID. Yeah, I will keep this BSS transition also enable. Even though I didn't really see that make us some kind of amendment perspective. Let me check one more time before. Yeah, I didn't see this things has been disappeared. That mean it may be a vendor specific thing. So now let me go ahead and enable that, or at least reapply those two settings which are disabled. And with that, probably you will see again 11R should be appear here, and FT with .1x as a AKM value should be come back here. You can see 11R came immediately, and FT what .1x came back here. And now if your client is already connected, let me just check. Now client is disconnected because we did some configuration change. I will go back and reconnect just to make sure. No problem of connecting back. Now client is connected back. You can see that particular time client decided to go with 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Okay, that's sometime you need to be mindful about, that's client decision which band to go with. They went with MLO connection across 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. They use AKM value 5. Still be achieving that data rate value there. So now if I go to the client view there, we should be able to confirm monitor client, Wi-Fi client, my client here. You can see this particular time 5 gigahertz being the active link, 2.4 standby ready link. It's a MLO connection. Okay. Yeah, hopefully you get a good idea now what is the sort of MLO setup with the UniFi access point. Now to recap whatever we discussed, that way, yes, you can leave your SSID if you just enable WPA3 Enterprise. It will advertising AKM value 5. But if you enable 11R on top of that, you will advertising AKM value 3. So now in the client point of view, if your client supporting 11R, they prefer to connect with the AKM value 3. Still, you will get a MLO connection with the Windows client, Intel BE200. That means in Windows operating system supporting WPA3 Enterprise even in the Wi-Fi 7 world. Only thing is, in Ubiquiti, they don't advertise any GCMP 256 support. That means client will have to use AES 128. So that, a Wi-Fi alliance point of view, they prefer Wi-Fi 7 connection use GCMP 256, but that is not strictly adhered by most of the AP vendors. Okay. So now in this particular setup, I tested with the Pixel phone as well, Pixel 2. They are WPA2, but still he is supporting PMF. That means he was able to connect to this SSID. Okay. That way PMF has been enabled. That is the setting in the 11W mean here. This is PMF 11W. Okay, so we are advertising PMF support. So now my client able to connect all the Pixel client as well. In that way, now keep in mind, in that way, sometimes this is sort of one mode of enabling a WPA3 Enterprise, WPA3 Enterprise only. But keep in mind, if you have a PMF not supported legacy client, they will have a challenge. Okay, that's what the Ubiquiti also in the dashboard mentioned. If you have IoT kind of devices, they may not supporting PMF, you will have a client connectivity problem. So on the same SSID using for these different purposes, don't enable this mode. Then you will basically disturbing some of the client. But if you have a corporate laptop, tablet, smartphone, but at least now we know Windows operating system point of view, they're supporting MLO in this setting. Okay. So we'll see another video with the different security options, but I hope you get some value out of this video here.